Okay, so spoiler alert. We're about to talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Full
and
spoilers.
We are going spoiler hard level 9,000. Right, guys?
We're spoiling it
Oh,
rotten.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're
My
spoiling
name
this
is
thing rotten.
Kevin Andrew Rivera. This is Raul Ceballos.
Hey, what's up?
We have our special guest today, Chad Cook. Chad,
Hi, I'm doing well on this Saturday morning. I mean afternoon. Sorry.
Man, as soon as you said that, I instantly was like, wait, it is the morning, isn't it? Oh, God. No, it's not.
Nah, it's like 3 o'clock.
My day is almost
You know,
gone.
In the multiverse, it is the morning somewhere.
That's true.
Oh.
It also means that if you dreamt about being in the morning, then it was the morning. All right, moving on. Anyways.
All right.
Let's talk about this movie because we got a lot to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, IMDb, 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 74% critic score, 86% audience score. Metacritic, 60% critic score, 6.3% user score. What do you guys think of those scores? Do you guys think that these actually make sense for this movie?
I mean, I'd say they're kind of accurate. They're about average, C plus type of rating, and the movie really didn't have as much substance as I guess some of the other Marvel films have, or yeah. I mean, I'd say they work. Those fit.
Yeah, I think like overall, I feel like this movie for me, like just your real quick thoughts about it is that it was enjoyable. I did enjoy watching the movie, but I also feel like there was so much hype of expectations of what was supposed to be in this movie that we go into the theater and you get a little bit let down because you're like, oh, I thought Batman was gonna be in it, and Tobey Maguire was gonna be in it, and Godzilla was gonna be in it. So like, I think it still has that fun energy when you get to watch the movie, but also I do have multiple other thoughts. But Raul, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. And yeah, I do feel like there was, and we can get into this later about how the movie was marketed and of course how, there's been reports about it. Kevin Feige was not quite happy with how the movie was marketed, but I do think there was a little bit of misleading as far as how much to expect in this movie versus what we ended up getting. But for me, what we did end up getting, I liked, and there's a lot of things I did like about it, and there's some things I didn't. But overall, I will say I had a good time. Saw it at the AMC in the Dolby theater, with the Dolby sound and all that stuff. Oh, it was freaking great. I missed my opportunity. Well, I don't know. It's still in the theater, but I'd love to see it in IMAX 3D, but I don't know if they're still showing in IMAX 3Ds now.
Dude, I watched it in 4D my second time.
I'm so jealous.
Oh, wow.
But no, you know what, though? It was a horrible experience.
Really?
Because, there's two different 4DX theaters in LA that I've been to, at least. There's one in the Chinese theater, which has single seats that move around like crazy. And then there's the Regal theater next door to us that actually has 4 seats attached to each other, and they all swing together when they start moving. And I went to that one with the 4 seaters, and I sat at the edge of the 4th seat. And so when the seats swing around, it's almost like it's just flailing you around like a rubber chicken the whole time.
Movement. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was terrible. But that being said, I would love to go see it at the one-seater, 4DX experience to see what that would be like.
Yeah.
But
I would probably need some Dramamine for that or something, so I wouldn't throw up.
Oh yeah, some Pepto-Bismol, something.
Yeah, Pepto-Bismol with.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Chad.
Oh no, I was just gonna mention that the movie had a lot of potential, but it just fell short. It didn't execute on some of the things they were setting up or hinting towards that would pull a Marvel comic book fan in. There's some we'll get into it, but there's some things that popped up that I was like, oh man, why'd they waste that here? So.
Yeah, I think. Well, we're already speaking about spoilers, and I think Raul just had a cough attack real quick.
No
Raul,
worries.
you okay over there, dude?
It's a pretzel.
Oh,
We're making him thirsty.
Oh, because he's eating pretzels. Are you eating pretzels, Raul?
Sorry, guys.
It's a Seinfeld reference.
These pretzels are making me thirsty. No.
Hey, he got it.
Sorry, guys. I had to duck out for a second. I was choking on something.
Man, it must have been you in another universe trying to dreamwalk inside you.
That's exactly what was happening. I was being taken
over your body.
I was being taken over by my other universe's me, and all hell broke loose. No, I'm sorry about that. Continue. Sorry.
Well, we were just talking about how you're a luchador in another universe, and
probably.
Yeah,
I'd be totally cool with that. Hopefully, a good one.
But anyways, we're going to go into even deeper spoilers real quick. I want to talk about, just off the top, the cameos. What did you guys think of the cameos? We had John Krasinski show up, Professor Xavier showing up. We got, I'm forgetting everybody's name. I'm blanking out, but we got all the others.
We had a different version of Captain Marvel. We had
Captain Carter.
Yeah.
I felt that, well, obviously a lot of them were spoiled for me. Xavier... Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and I think those were actually the only two, and so Black Bolt was a surprise.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's neat to bring him in because of how Inhumans failed.
Yeah,
and
give him a chance to kind of redeem himself a little bit.
Yeah, and the other version of Captain Marvel, well, because later that character takes over the mantle of Captain Marvel, I believe.
Yeah,
so
Maria Rambeau.
Yeah, so I guess they sped that up for the other universe one, which was cool, but I mean, it didn't really matter who was Captain Marvel. I mean,
she's dead in our universe, right? The 616 universe.
She died cancer, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Wait, no, I thought I thought she survived, didn't she?
She
You're
died
thinking
in
WandaVision. Monica Rambeau is the next one.
Sorry.
In WandaVision, they revealed that Maria Rambeau had died.
Okay.
So Monica is still in the picture, though.
I see. Okay.
You fool!
I don't remember the names. I just know Captain Marvel. That's the name you should know.
Honestly,
even though there's Mama Captain Marvel, there's daughter Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
What's the name of the actress who plays Monica Rambeau? I'm sorry. I'm already you're messing me up now, Chad. Maria Rambeau is what I meant to say.
Don't name both of them with an M, okay?
That's true. That's a very good argument. But wait, who's the actress that played Maria Rambeau? Because honestly, I think she's killing it. Like every time she shows up in any movie I've seen her in, I've loved her work.
I don't remember the actress's name, but the one who played her daughter grown up in WandaVision, that was supposed to be her daughter, right? Or am I mixing that up?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And she's Monica or Maria? So let's get this straight here, right now.
So it's Maria is the mother, Monica is the daughter.
Okay, Maria.
Lashana Lynch is the one who played Maria Rambeau.
Lashana Lynch. Yeah, she's great. She's a great actress. Yeah. I loved her in No Time to Die. She was.
That's right.
I still haven't seen No Time to Die.
Yeah. Oh, I recommend it.
I know. I gotta watch it. I love James Bond, so that's the one I still haven't seen. As far as the cameos are concerned, I wish I didn't know as much as I did going in. And like we were saying with the marketing, I do think the marketing just kind of spoiled Xavier for me. I really wish I didn't know about that going in. I mean, they didn't straight up. I mean, all it was like Patrick Stewart's voiceover.
Yeah.
Tell him the truth. Yeah, and his voiceover. And, you see a figure kind of wheeling in, not stepping in, but you see something wheeling in from behind. It's like, okay, that's Xavier. Patrick Stewart's in this movie. I wish I didn't know that.
You know what, though? That was like the hook. I feel like that was the hook to the movie, because a lot of people, when the first trailer came out, we were like, okay, yeah, it's Multiverse of Madness. We're all excited because it came out at the end of No Way Home, and everybody's like, cool. But it wasn't trying to upstage No Way Home. It was just trying to get us teased, right?
Yeah.
So once the second trailer dropped, they were like, how do we get these people to watch this movie and get more excited about it? Because we're not getting that reaction that we want from them. Oh, let's just show his, Professor Xavier's hand for like half a second and just, we should tell him the truth and see what happens. And I
mean, like,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I agree that they introduced his hand with his voice to lure people in, and I think they're had to have been like another trailer with that just cut out, and people were like, this is not really grabbing people, because it was a completely different trailer from the one you see at No Way Home, because No Way Home was a jump cuts of different things going on, and then I think without that, I still wouldn't have been interested in. So it was smart that they did put Xavier's voice in there.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they did it. I hated that I knew it going in, because I really wanted to have that. I wish I had that surprise going in of like, I had no idea this was happening. But yeah, I get why they had to do that.
Well, also, there's the point that it's like, it's the multiverse of madness. They have to show us somebody from the multiverse other than America Chavez, you know? So it's like, it was a guarantee that at least one person was going to be spoiled for us. But I think segueing into John Krasinski, I feel like everybody was talking about rumors of John Krasinski showing up in this movie. And so for me, that was one of the things that got spoiled for me. And I was really hoping I wouldn't hear that as often. So when he finally showed up, there was a part of me that was like, oh my God, it's John Krasinski. It was fantastic. But like, then there was another part of me that was like, the rumors were true. And it's like, dang, I didn't want to feel like that. I wanted to be like, holy crap, they did it, you know?
Well, I mean, there was an opportunity there that I think they could have, if there was an incursion that was happening, maybe mutants could have bled into our 616 universe, and then we could have mutants a little bit quicker now than having to like explain a whole nother story that's like, oh, mutants exist, you know, or the Fantastic Four, if for some reason, I don't know, like, yeah, but I know we're eventually going to get them, but it's just like, you're teasing us with these alternate versions. Just give it to us now.
Give us the real thing.
You know, I doubt anyone's going to be like, I don't believe that too much. I mean, they'll just receive it. They've been wanting it for so long, they'll just take it.
Yeah, I think
whatever
Kevin Feige has been teasing us so long with the X-Men. Yeah. But like, I always go back to what he said, like, I guess almost 5 years ago, where he's like, I've got the next 5 years of the MCU planned before we start talking about X-Men, Fantastic Four, and these other characters. And so the fact that he still kind of used a few of the X-Men from different movies here and there, sprinkled here and there, it was just this annoying tease. Like, man, just do it already. I remember, Chad, talking to you about this a while back about the idea of, what if they entered the cartoon universe in the movie, and then that's how they get the X-Men to come out to the 616 universe.
I mean, I would have rolled my eyes pretty heavily at that, but I'm more critical than most people. So.
No, but I agree. I do not like that idea.
Well, but like at the same time, like they announced like the X-Men 90s animated series was coming back again. And so a lot of people were making the connection of like, because it segues from Multiverse of Madness.
They're going to go from animated to real life.
Well, I mean, when you have the subject of magic, there's a point where you have to push the envelope so crazy that it just might be a disconnect from the universe you've created. But that's the thing, like I go into a movie where there's wizards and magicians and all that throwing whatever at each other. I want to see something I've never seen before. I want it to go all out, like otherworldly things, and it just seemed so familiar that I was like, you know, I don't know. I wasn't impressed.
We got maybe maybe two full good looks at alternate universes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, two different alternate universe for the most part, but I know there's that scene where they're kind of jumping around. We see glimpses of different alternate universes, but as far as
go on, sorry.
Yeah, as far as different alternate universes, we really spent time in the 838 and then whichever one, the one where everything's going to shit, right? With evil Doctor Strange.
Right.
And that's pretty much it.
I think that the main thing is that it's not about the places, it's about the people. And so that's what I think most of the fans have been excited about, was like, not only are we going to see Professor Xavier, we might see like Nightcrawler.
Asgard isn't a place, it's a people.
Exactly. Like Thor had it right. Like I was hoping.
No, it's true.
Like it is true, though, that we all really did overhype ourselves, because in our minds we're thinking we're going to see another version of Black Panther. We're going to see the Silver Surfer appear out of nowhere in the background. We're going to see Kang the Conqueror for half a second. But
that's the thing. It's like everything before has kind of. We're kind of expecting everything to kind of build off of the last thing. So everything before has kind of seemed to be building and building and building. And it's like coming after No Way Home.
Yeah.
No Way Home had so much, to do with like multiverse stuff. We saw so many characters from so many different Spider-Man multiverses. We just had to assume that Doctor Strange was going to take it to the next step.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess it could be argued it did, but not as far as okay, here's the thing. For a movie called The Multiverse of Madness, this shouldn't have been called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This really should have been called like Doctor Strange and the Rise of the Scarlet Witch, because that's really what this movie was about.
Yes, I agree.
That's really what this movie is about. I really quick, I was going to circle back to the cameos really quick, is that as far as me complaining about how I was spoiled by Xavier and all that stuff, I will say I was so happy to see him.
Yeah,
that's just
especially with
really
the X-Men theme song
with the '90s, yes, the '90s cartoon
and the floating chair. I was like,
yes, it was the floating chair.
Did we actually see it float though? Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever saw like a full shot of it floating on.
Like when he first comes on the stage, like it floats out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and I was gonna say, as far as John Krasinski goes, like you said, Kevin, like I wish, because there were so many rumors, and not even just rumors, really just a lot of fan casting for years. Yeah. People, ever since like people started putting up fan artwork on social media showing John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, like I had seen so much of that and heard so much of people's fan casting, and then the rumors. I just had it so ingrained in my head. I started to associate John Krasinski with Mr. Fantastic. So when he showed up as Mr. Fantastic in this movie, I didn't have as much of a surprise as I would have liked to. He shows up and I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That was going to happen, I guess. I mean, so I wish, as far as those two specifically, those cameos, I wish I was a little more surprised. The one that really surprised me was, like what you said, Chad, was Black Bolt.
Yeah.
And it was actually, and I did watch the entirety of the Inhuman series.
Oh my God.
I started it and I was like, I gotta do it. I just had to. I was like, this sucks, but I gotta finish it. And I did, and it's awful. So that's why I watch these things, so that you guys don't have to. But having said that, Anson Mount as Black Bolt was my favorite part of that show.
He's great. He was great in the movie.
And so seeing him as a new version of Black Bolt in this, I was like, I was delighted. Yeah. I was like, okay, great. And he gets to do a new thing. And it's funny because I was like, so we're gonna see a new Black Bolt. He's gonna develop as a new character, and we're gonna see him. Oh no, he's dead. His brains got blown out.
He didn't say much. Not much of a talker.
Doesn't have a way with words, that guy.
To go off what you said before, Raul, about how you thought Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness would elevate the story, I completely agree with that, because No Way Home was such like a personal story, and this was really continuing off another personal story, which was Wanda's story.
Yes.
So in my opinion, and I said this to Kevin, that it was like a finale TV movie episode for WandaVision, to wrap her out,
for sure,
pretty much.
And that was a good, logical, smooth progression if you watched WandaVision.
Yeah, and I would have to say that sucks for people who don't watch the Marvel shows. Like if for some reason, like, I only want to watch the movies, it's just too much to handle. I think they would be out of place. It would be such a big jump from, what was it, Endgame to, I mean, she's distraught, but like, to see that she's already this Scarlet Witch character, I'm like, wait, hold on a second.
When did this happen? How did this happen?
I will say,
go ahead.
I will say one cameo I would have loved if, as a way of Xavier trying to hold off Scarlet Witch, he brings in Ian McKellen's Magneto as her dad, and like to see if they were able to work that and like write it so well enough that I was like, that was awesome. But they obviously. I
was wondering if we were going to get any Magneto at all.
Yeah.
And it's just sad.
Or her brother. Like they didn't even bring up Pietro,
Pietro, yeah.
Yeah,
Pietro.
she could have gone to a universe that had her brother.
Exactly.
But I think the reason why they didn't go that route was because she's more into her kids than her brother. Because her brother's dead already. Her kids might still have a chance.
Well, what about?
Can I say?
I know we're kind of jumping all over the place. But
yeah, we are.
I'm fine with this if you guys are. We're just kind of going,
no, that's fine.
Just kind of flowing as we flow naturally.
We'll go through the whole story soon enough, but I'm we're digging this open stuff right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of my issues. Well, that's one of the. Okay, she was looking for her kids. What about Vision? Did she just forget about Vision? Like the whole reason why she created Westview and everything like that she went through in WandaVision, that was all for Vision. And now it's like, yeah, she's looking for her kids, but doesn't she want to find her whole family, like her kids? I got the kids. Now let's look for Vision or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting that like the story kind of shows it to you in a way where it's like anybody who's dead in her life is gone forever now. But if she has her children who might still be alive, then I have to go for that, and that's all she can think about. Plus, I guess I'm only letting her get away with that just because of the fact that she's got the Darkhold, turning her into this crazy mother kind of figure.
It's corrupt.
From
but
that.
Also, sorry. Let me just add one more thing.
Yeah.
The one of the things that I thought Kevin Feige was trying to go for when they were building up to this event movie, which, by the way, Multiverse of Madness was marketed as like a big event movie, and it didn't feel like it at the end of the movie. But one of the things that I thought Kevin Feige was building up to was if you watch Shang-Chi, at the end of Shang-Chi or throughout Shang-Chi, when that dragon monster is like whispering to Shang-Chi's father as if he's the wife, saying, "Oh, come save me, come rescue me." I thought that at the end of WandaVision, she heard a voice whispering to her that sounded like her kids, and it was some demonic demon from another multiverse trying to call her to get help or whatever. I thought that was like the progression of where it was supposed to be going. Right. So the fact that had nothing to do with it and she just saw something in the multiverse, I was like, it's kind of a shame that it's not, like, I feel like this movie really isn't connected to the MCU as much as it could be.
Right.
But at the same time, it's they told their story, but it's not this event that we all thought it was. It's exactly what Chad said. It's the rise of Wanda Maximoff, or the rise of the Scarlet Witch.
That's TM for Raul. That's Raul's name. He named.
No,
heck
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
But I will say, I think there should have been one more episode of WandaVision where she's using the Darkhold to look for Vision, to look for her kids, her brother, and like that just evolves into something else, and like maybe it's like an open-ended thing, and then that's why it's a surprise reveal. Oh no, she's evil in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think we needed to see that transition of her. So like one more episode, or maybe like her own side movie that she goes from dimension to dimension opening.
That's
things.
True. I think because by the end of WandaVision, I didn't know that the Darkhold has that much of an effect on you until Doctor Strange was like, "Oh, when you hold the Darkhold, this is what it does to you."
Yeah.
Like in my head, I was like, "Oh, okay, so we're just making this up for the movie. Is that what it is?" Because I swear to God, I don't remember hearing Agatha Harkness mentioning that to Wanda. I think all she said to her at the end of WandaVision was like, "You're gonna need me." Yeah. All right, well, I know where to find you.
I think the issue is that a lot of that stuff is implied. It's implied that the Darkhold corrupted Agatha, and it's implied that the Darkhold, at the very end, that post-credit scene in WandaVision where she's kind of floating in the air, she's using the Darkhold. I think that scene is supposed to imply like, oh, the Darkhold has corrupted her. Well, but I will agree, it does, even if you watch the last episode of WandaVision, going into Doctor Strange, you're right, it does feel a little disjointed, like it's unclear at the end what's going on, but then you get into Doctor Strange, you're like, oh, okay, so she's evil now. Okay, but yeah, okay, I could have used a little bit of an easier transition, but okay, screw it, we'll go with it.
For me, I think it's like it implied that Agatha was being taken, made evil after I watched Doctor Strange too. Because when I first watched Agatha Harkness throughout the WandaVision series, all I could think was like, dang, they're making her an evil character when compared to the comics. Because I know that in the comics she helps Wanda with her magic powers, and she's like a mentor to her. And so I'm like, wow, it's kind of weird that she's just this evil witch.
Well, I think that reflects on the comics, and like if she was this good character, she was obviously turned bad by the Darkhold. But I will say they changed the Book of Vishanti. They changed how it works, really, because in the comics it's completely different. It's
how does it work in the comics?
Oh, is it?
Well, in the comics, that's the book that Doctor Strange studies spells from. Like it's not like some unreachable book. That's why I was like, oh, okay. But so I think they probably changed the Darkhold as well for that purpose as well.
The Book of Vishanti is still out there, right? The Darkhold was destroyed.
No, she destroyed the Book of Vishanti. But if it's
I thought she destroyed the Darkhold.
No, the Darkhold was destroyed too But the thing was, there's a temple that has the scriptures of the Darkhold on it. It's a copy. So I don't know if they said the Vishanti was a copy or not, but you know.
Okay, so both books are destroyed then.
Yes.
I can't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
Now wait, what? Something I is the Book of Vishanti? That's the one book, and that's it in all the dimensions altogether. It's just one book.
I mean, that I think was made up for the movie. I don't know if that's the case in comic lore, but that's probably so in the movie. Yeah. That's because every dimension it leads to the one book, I guess.
Right.
In that area, which is weird, but I was like, okay. So America Chavez and the book are like the same Nexus being, but also, yeah. Well, can I say this? I thought initially before the movie was coming out, you know who I thought the villain was?
Who?
A Scarlet Witch from another universe.
Yeah, me too.
And then he was going to recruit our universe's, Scarlet Witch to help with calming her down or stopping her and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Because that's the way the trailer looked. I was like, oh, the home looking one and then and I was like, oh, okay, must be two of them. But it was the opposite. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
To me, it's interesting that like they went the route of like just making her completely the bad guy in this movie. Like I could have sworn there was going to be something else, kind of like a Godzilla versus Kong, and then they both fight Mecha Godzilla at the end. Spoiler alert, my bad. Hey, we're all talking about spoilers, guys. But like it was weird because it's like Wanda is the most popular character right now in the MCU. Like everybody adores Wanda Maximoff right now. And so the fact that they just were like, let's flip her now. She's super evil. And then she, quote unquote, dies in the end. I was like, that's kind of like killing Superman in Batman v Superman.
I don't think she was that big, though. That's why I think it's fine that she died. Like, I had no qualms about her. I was like, all right, that's good. We don't have to worry about...
If you're just following the movies, right, she isn't a character that seems to be one of the big heavy hitters. But if you watched WandaVision, that really connects you even more to WandaVision. So if you're watching the Marvel shows, Wanda has now, at least for me, has now become one of the big heavy hitters in the MCU. So that's why I think she felt, even bigger to us as we watched WandaVision.
And
not
also
everybody has watched
there were a lot of things that they did in WandaVision that helped flesh her out as a character.
Yeah.
And to me, like, I think something Raul and I were talking about in our first episode of the podcast was like, now that Tony Stark and, Captain America, they're gone, they need these new characters to be fleshed out to be the front runners now, to run the MCU. And so when they did that with WandaVision, I was already set. I was like, okay, so Wanda she's one of the front runners of the MCU at the moment. Awesome. I love her character. WandaVision sold it for me. Had I never seen WandaVision before and I just gone into Doctor Strange, I would have been like, okay, she's the bad guy now. Cool. Okay, she died. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I was okay with it. I would have been okay with it, but
However, once my brain did finally adjust to this change of like, oh, Wanda's the bad guy now, I was all in. Because I know we've been kind of talking about, all the things we don't like about the movie, but I will say I loved Wanda as the bad guy because it was so effectively done.
She was
and
good.
with Sam Raimi's direction, I loved that stuff. I mean, I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan. Even before all the Spider-Man movies. Like, I love the Evil Dead movies. I love Darkman even. Like, Darkman is great. So seeing the Sam Raimi-ness, the horror stuff, I ate all that up. I thought that was some of the best things about this movie was that style.
I'd agree with all of that. Yeah. Yeah, I've found her to be much more interesting as evil instead of a good guy. So, and that's how I kind of know her as, because from the X-Men universe, since she's technically more of a mutant, than anything. But
she's more associated with the Brotherhood of Mutants, right? She's associated with the bad guys.
And her dad's Magneto and her brother's, So, but so that's why I was like, all right, it's good to see this. I wasn't sure if we were gonna get that Scarlet Witch ever, so I was cool to see. But obviously, her powers are just so OP that I was like, I don't know how that would really work with everything. But I mean,
want to see her fight the Dark Phoenix, man. That'd be a great fight.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I did notice though, because her power was chaotic magic, and there's she could change reality and things like that, and it was funny because one of the beasts or characters she sent after America Chavez, which was, I would assume he was supposed to be Shuma Gorath, the tentacled monster. He's a big enemy of Doctor Strange, so I was like, oh, that sucks that they wasted him here, because his power, he's one of the old, he's called one of the old ones, and his power is to morph reality and change reality and stuff. And I was like, maybe that gave that to her as a thing, because I don't know, it just felt.
See, I wasn't sure. So was that Shuma Gorath, or was that Gargantus? Right? What's his name? There's another tentacled one-eyed monster as well.
Oh, really?
In the Marvel universe, but I wasn't sure. I mean, I don't think they outright say which one it is. But...
No, they don't give him a name. They were just this thing appears and starts attacking America Chavez, and they're fighting it, and they kill it and stuff. And I was like, oh. I hope it was Gargantua or whatever that one's called, but because if you waste Shuma Gorath like that, I'm like, he's a big character. Also, the other creature that was chasing her in the dream world, I think that was supposed to be Nightmare, which was another villain of Doctor Strange, where he pretty much lives in the dream world, but he gets more powerful from nightmares. He draws power from nightmares and stuff. And I was like, that's another cool story they could have followed, but they didn't technically kill. He was another unit. I mean, well, I guess no, that's the Dream universe, so he's only one of them. But yeah, they could. There's another plot line they could have went down, which he would have been cool to see too. But I don't know.
Really quick, I just Googled who is the tentacled monster in Multiverse of Madness, and I got 3 different answers. So I feel like not even the internet knows what this thing is.
Gargantos, I know, is one of those from the
Gargantos
comics.
is option number 1. Then another website, Collider, was saying it's Gamatos. And then
never heard
Collider, but then Collider again said it's Shuma Gorath. So it's, I don't know. That's interesting. It's interesting that they changed their minds.
Well, I guess they don't. They never make a big deal out of it, so I guess we shouldn't read too much into it. They never say
it's a multiverse monster.
This monster just shows up for one scene, and I'm not sure if it's the same monster from What If, but it sure looks like it. But it never plays a big part in anything. It just kind of shows up. The heroes fight it, and then it kind of goes away. So, regardless, I guess it doesn't matter. But take your pick, any one of those.
Yeah.
But also the way Doctor Strange killed it though was pretty badass. You gotta admit. With the whole taking the giant pole from the streets and just sinking it at its
You know what though? If I hadn't just seen that in the Suicide Squad, I think it would have made me. It would have made me kind of jump up a little more, be like, "Oh, that's awesome!" But I feel like I remember once when I saw that happen, I was like, "Oh, they just did that in the Suicide Squad." Any animal with a big eye is gonna get that eye punctured at some point.
Sam Raimi must have seen that scene from Suicide Squad and gone, "Damn it, they did it before me!" No.
Well, no, I think the hard thing about that is if you look at any movie of a giant monster creature, they always go for the eyes. If you've watched a lot of even in the Odyssey. How does he blind the Cyclops? He attacks the eye. That's
just like in Star Wars.
That's why I would never want to be a giant monster or anything. Because I was like, my eyes, come on, guys.
At least
anywhere else.
Nobody wants to be a Cyclops. Don't be a Cyclops, or else your life will suck.
Or I mean, if you have a big eye on your face. Then it's well, you guys, do you mind just chop off the rest of my tentacles? Just don't stab me in the eye. Come on.
I mean, you're a walking target, right? You got literally a big target in the middle.
I know. I feel bad for Shuma Gorath or whatever it's called.
Well, real quick, I want to go back to talking about Sam Raimi real quick because the scene where they punctured the Shumagorath's eyeball, doesn't it remind you guys of the scene from Spider-Man 2 where Spider-Man takes the second hand of the clock tower's clock hand and just kind of like zips it back at Doc Ock?
Oh,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Like
yeah,
there were a couple of similarities from Spider-Man 2 that I kept on comparing into Doctor Strange 2. Also, the other scene was like when Wanda dies and she's like no, like screaming or whatever. The camera closes in on her and she's looking up the exact same way that Doc Ock looks when he's about to bring down
I will not die a monster.
Yeah, I will not die a monster line. It's almost as though Sam Raimi was like, "Hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's just do it."
I mean,
it works.
Yeah.
Really quick. Oh, sorry, Chad.
Oh no, I was just only going to bring up the aftermath of the tentacled monster. I was like, they don't want to use their magic to like clean up the mess that they created. Like that's not I would think they would be able to do that. But also the fact that the creature was invisible in the beginning, where he had to wave over it to make it appear. I was like, that's kind of very cool. I don't know if they did that in the comics, but I know if you've ever watched, I think it was like 2016, they made an animated Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, that's what it was called. And like anytime there was a creature running through the city or running amok, it was invisible, and like to cloud it so no one would get like scared or anything, they put like a tornado surrounding it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of very cool. But obviously it wasn't elaborated on in the movie. But
see, I thought that when Doctor Strange did that spell so that he could see the octopus, he was doing that spell where like he makes the space a safe space for him to fight.
Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. That's probably what it was then. Yeah,
I thought that might be
because that's how the tornado works in the animated movie I saw.
Like once all the destruction is done, then he just turns off that spell and it all goes back to normal.
I would hope.
Do you guys really quick? Do you want to take? Let's take a second to go through the movie.
Yeah,
really quick before we continue on.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's start at the beginning of the movie, shall we? We got the first scene here. We have America Chavez and a version of Stephen Strange, Defender Strange, are chased by a demon in the space between universes while searching for the Book of Vishanti. Strange is killed, and Chavez accidentally creates a portal that transports herself and Strange's corpse to Earth 616. So what do we think of this opening scene?
I thought it was interesting. Like, I think, though, I would have liked a little bit more context of... because like I don't know, I didn't really care about her well-being at first. I was like, all right, part of me was like, is this a dream? So then okay, she's fine, So I don't know. What did you think?
If anything, I keep having like this like back and forth battle of whether or not I enjoyed Sam Raimi's work in this movie. I think he's doing an amazing job, but also like one of the things that happened in this movie as soon as it started is It just starts. It just goes. Like they're already running. There's already action going. Which it sounds like I'm complaining about that. I'm totally not. I was super excited about it. But I think there's moments where you can tell that like there's like cheesy little lines here and there that they'll say to each other in Spanish and whatever. But other than that, like I think the action sequences was super cool. I love the fact that Doctor Strange uses the line of like. In the vast universe and whatever, your life means so much more to blah. What's the quote? I'm forgetting the quote, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
I can't remember the quote. Yeah,
I don't recall it off the top of my head.
Like, in the vastness of the multiverse, your life means little to the grander picture, or something like that. Which is something that Doctor Strange said in Infinity War when he was trying to tell, Tony Stark and Peter Parker, like, hey man, I'm gonna let you guys die because this one thing's more important. If I have to let you die, I will. Like it's
right.
I'm trying to protect everybody, not just you two.
Yeah, he sees the bigger picture, in everything, and really, like humans and all that stuff are just a tiny speck in the story of the universe.
Totally.
But this universe, the Doctor Strange in the beginning, although he was slightly different because he would let it happen. And then the one in the beginning of this film, he was gonna I'm gonna kill you to take it because that's
well, he didn't have a time stone to tell him what was gonna happen or all the possibilities.
Well, no, but
on the spot,
I think this from his look, like the ponytail and everything like that, this Doctor Strange might have not have been, as moral as the previous one. But, I don't know. We haven't had enough experience with Strange yet. That's why I think he should have had a movie in between this and Multiverse, but, that's another story.
I do like the idea of, every Doctor Strange and every multiverse, no matter which one you go to, they're all considered to be selfish and arrogant punks. So when you see the Defender Strange making that decision of being like, I'm just going to take your power because I can use it. I don't care if you can. We got to protect the universe, all right? It is nice to see that character, that version of Strange, just because when you see 616 Strange, it's like he's different. Like he does have something in him that's different. He wouldn't consider killing America Chavez for that power. He would try to find a way.
He let her hold the knife, as it were.
Exactly. I see what you did there. Yeah. All right. Well, next scene. Oh, Raul, what did you think, real quick, before we move on?
Like you, Kevin, I liked the way it started because, boom, right off the bat, you are in the middle of this action scene. And, considering how much this movie is supposed to cover, I'd rather just start the movie, just get right into it because there's so much going on in this movie. You're thrown right in the middle of it. Like, I don't know, I love movies that kind of start that way. I mean, you think back to the original Star Wars A New Hope. The movie opens, boom, you're thrown right into this battle going on with the Star Destroyer taking over, the Tantive 4.
It's just comic booky right from the get-go.
Yeah, so, I mean, right at the beginning, you got the Star Destroyer shooting at the ship, and there's R2-D2 and C-3PO, and like, oh no, everything's, the ship's being overtaken. You're thrown into this battle, right? I love that. I love that this movie starts right in the middle of this action scene, and it kind of just gets you going right away.
With the horror aspect of the movie, I think, though, the scene could have been that much more chef's kiss but instead of them running immediately, like it was a paused moment. Maybe the two of them are having a conversation, and then this big demon monster, or if it's supposed to be Nightmare, shows up and makes a jump scare, and then the running immediately. Then I'll be like, oh shit, like
that's true. Yeah,
it'll grab me that much more.
That would have been cool. Yeah, it's just like a low level moment, and then it kind of builds up into a scare. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right, well, next scene we got here. Our Strange, Earth 616 version, is attending a wedding for Christine Palmer, has a conversation with a guy there who questions him about the events of Infinity War. Strange still has feelings for Christine, but justifies himself that he has to be a superhero. And then she says the famous quote, "You're the one who always has to hold the knife." Thoughts on this scene here?
I wish... because, I really liked the guy who was talking to him he was in the first movie.
Yeah.
He was the other doctor.
Nick West, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, was he the one that was challenging him on the music knowledge? Like, what year did this song come out at?
Yeah.
No kidding. Oh,
yeah,
man.
And I was hoping he'd have a bigger part in the story. Or, maybe he's an alternate version of Doctor Strange, or maybe even, one of the Illuminati, but that didn't happen. But I was
I thought
he's a great actor. That guy's a great actor. So.
I honestly thought when he first showed up on camera that he was like an off-brand Joaquin Phoenix, and I was like, wait a minute, are they about to show us Joaquin Phoenix as another Strange coming into the universe? Because, he was originally supposed to be Doctor Strange with the MCU, right. But I guess that kind of fell through, and then we got Benedict Cumberbatch, which we're happier for it,
What if we had Keanu Reeves?
I thought it was interesting, though, that, to me, it's like Kevin Feige really does listen to the fans, because it's like, as we're all watching Infinity War, we're all questioning Strange, saying, but what about if he just did this? To which, the writers were like, no, that Strange said, out of all the millions he saw, this was the only one. But was it? I really like that, because I feel like that scene kind of gave me, a validation as a fan, thinking okay, so we're not the only ones thinking this. There are characters in this universe that are thinking about this stuff too. And we're only human. We would want to put blame on Strange, saying, oh, well, you could have done it like this, Strange. Imagine what he as a character has to go through because of that scenario, knowing that he alone had to make that decision for the whole universe. That's crazy.
Yeah. I will say this scene, I love the look of Doctor Strange. I think his, the costume that they've got for Doctor Strange looks super cool, and his look I really enjoy. But I think this scene, it kind of stood out to me. I think because he was wearing just like a normal suit.
Yeah.
I could not get my eyes off of it looks like Benedict Cumberbatch is wearing a helmet that just happens to look like hair.
Dude,
I could
yes.
not get my eyes off of it. And any other time I didn't mind it because he was wearing the whole costume and it kind of fit. But I think it just stood out to me the most when he was in this wedding scene and all he's wearing is just a suit. I'm like, what is going on with your hair, dude? It just doesn't look quite natural to me. But that's the only thing.
I agree. I think it's like, that wig is specifically meant for the Doctor Strange costume. And so when you connect it with other things, it's like, I don't like what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, it looks like a helmet. I mean, it just kind of, I could tell it's a wig. But anyway, but other than that, I do like this scene and how it kind of sets up Strange's arc for the rest of the movie, right? Where he's talking to Christine and she's telling him, you're the one who always has to be holding the knife. I like that setup.
It also has the setup of like, hey, Doctor Strange, are you happy? And he's like, huh? What? Of course I'm happy. And then we just hear that question throughout the movie, which I feel like, to me, that was one of those like Sam Raimi cheesy line stuff. But at the same time, once I kind of just accepted it, I was like, okay, I'm ready to accept Sam Raimi. Come on, man. Like, we got to go through it.
I didn't think that line was particularly cheesy, only because, like,
didn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a deep question to ask somebody, because happy is ever, flowing, ever fluctuating. It's never a constant. And, but when you take a moment to actually reflect on that question, to answer it yourself, am I happy? Or you ask it to yourself, you kind of be like, oh, the emotion hits you, like, oh wait, I'm not happy. Or I think that's a perfect way to get get in the mind of Strange, like where he's at the moment, because he's obviously holding on to the past with the broken watch he has, and he's still vying for her affection, but he's like, I'm just gonna tell her, be happy and stuff like that. Although I would like to not say that. I would like to grab a hold of her and give her a big smooch.
So you're saying it's not more of like us thinking about or if we're happy, but it's more about us understanding where he's at.
Yeah, because if you look at his paw, he gives a hesitant answer.
Yeah.
And he's kind of paused, like, you obviously if you were happy you'd be able to go, yeah, no, I'm fine, but the way he answered, you could tell he isn't. And
it's like kind of similar to Chris Evans when he, in Endgame, where he's just like, I was frozen in the ice for 70 years and then lost a date with the love of my life, but you gotta move on.
Yeah,
that kind of similar thing.
Yeah, and he didn't really mean that, and he's not gonna move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally. All right, well then, here we go. We got the next scene here. Strange notices America Chavez being chased after by an octopus-like demon that we all talked about. He rescues Chavez with help of the Sorcerer Supreme Wong. Chavez explains that the beings are hunting her because she has the power to travel through the multiverse. Personally, I love this opening scene with her explaining, and to me, I knew it was like the exposition scene to make sure the audience knows what the rules of this multiverse thing can be for her. And I thought it was fun. I think that was like one of the opening scenes for me that was like, I instantly like America Chavez. I think she's a cool character already. What about you guys? What do you think?
Chad?
Oh, well, I was giving you the floor, but for sure. I at first, because the way she treated Doctor Strange, I was like, I get it because of the previous one tried to kill her almost, but also she was very abrasive's not the word, but like she's very
funky.
Well, yeah, like to the point where she's a smart ass, and I was like, I mean, you need help. You shouldn't be. I mean, immediately like pushing aside, be like, I don't need your help, blah blah blah, or I don't know. I just felt I didn't know what to feel still at the time. I was like, she's kind of a little shit.
I feel like that there was a part of her that was like, I saw her innocence of like not wanting to trust and like how a teenage girl would respond in this type of situation of like if she saw another Doctor Strange, she would definitely just start running because she's like, nah, I'm not dealing with this again.
I mean, the last one wanted to kill her. You know? I mean, I can't really blame her so much.
It all makes sense. Everything she did made sense, in my opinion.
I mean, like, if I were her, if I had her ability, and I'd be terrified. Like, please help me get control of this. Please, like, I would, at any moment, some demon's going to try and come after me. I don't know. That would be my mentality, but I get it. She accidentally threw herself in as a kid, and she's grown up jumping ever so much. Totally. So she's her own person. So I could see that too.
You know, one thing that I was thinking a lot about was when they had that breakfast or lunch time together, and America Chavez says something to Wong in Spanish, and she's like, "Oh, este güey no habla español." Like, hey, this guy doesn't speak Spanish. And to me, what I instantly thought was, oh, she said güey, which means it's like a Mexican slang. And I know that America Chavez in the comics is Puerto Rican. And so they instantly retconned that just by saying that one slang word. And I was like...
that's interesting because until you brought that up, because I know the actress, oh my goodness, I can't remember what her name is.
It's like Xochitl Gomez.
Oh, yeah.
Xochitl? Yeah, I can't say it.
Xochitl Gomez.
He's a little Gomez.
I think. I know she is Mexican, right? The actress.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She is Mexican, but yes, in the comics, America Chavez is Puerto Rican, and so yeah, I know. Like you, I was really excited. I was like, oh yeah, we got a Puerto Rican representing. But they don't really outright say what her heritage is, but then I was like, oh well, they don't outright say, so maybe she is playing a Puerto Rican. But then you made that point. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that she is supposed to be Mexican in the movie.
Yeah,
but you know what?
There was also just like the point that it's like her Spanish to me didn't sound Puerto Rican to me because again, for all the listeners out there, Raul and I are Puerto Rican, so we speak our Puerto Rican Spanish all the time. When I was watching her or listening to her Spanish, like I don't hear a Puerto Rican accent. I hear closer to a Mexican accent, but not only that, but I think I heard a Mexican accent of a second generation Hispanic. So it's her, English is her dominant language, and then the Spanish was not the strongest. Like the accent wasn't 100%. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like it's fine. Like, hey, we got Latino.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it's just a little thing. Oh man, it would have been nice to see a Puerto Rican. But you know what? It's cool. It's Latino representation anyway, which I am all for. Anytime I see that, I'm like, yeah.
You know what? Right. If that means they're saving a Puerto Rican for Miles Morales, then I am 100% for
Miles Morales,
it.
Or I'm still holding out hope for a Borinqueña. Rosario Dawson, make that happen.
I would. Totally
I do have a question on the name America Chavez. Is America a common name in Puerto Rico or in
Latino? In Hispanic culture that you do see that name come up not often, but think of America Ferrera, from Ugly Betty.
Oh, okay.
So that's it is a common name.
For me, I thought I was like, oh, is this just a comic book name? Like she's named America for some reason in the comics or something.
Yeah. Well, no, there is precedent for for that name. Yeah.
But funny enough,
and Chavez is Puerto Rican, or is that?
Well, I was just about to say that actually. Chavez. Personally, I've never heard anybody with a Puerto Rican last name, Chavez. But it's funny that in Spanish, as maybe it's a Puerto Rican slang, when we say something like no Chavez, it's like stop messing around, So her name is America Stop Messing Around, technically.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, no me chave.
She totally messes around, though. And she's definitely chavando, like she's messing with the multiverse, messing with the order, man, So
she breaks through borders. That's what people are saying online.
Oh, man. I think I saw that online, too.
I didn't see that.
I was like, that's funny.
Listen, the internet is a troll, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So we got our next scene over here. We got recognizing witchcraft runes. Strange consults Wanda Maximoff for helping, but realizes that she is responsible for the attacks. After acquiring the Darkhold and becoming the Scarlet Witch, Maximoff believes that controlling Chavez's powers will allow her to reunite with Billy and Tommy, the children she created during her time in Westview. So I think this scene was really cool just because when I first saw the opening of when Doctor Strange shows up and says, oh, is this all stuff that you created? And Wanda's like, no, all these plants and trees, these are all real. Even I thought, like, oh my God, yeah, I believe her. Like, she's totally straight. Like, it's all good. I just saw WandaVision. She's a good gal, she's not trying to cause no trouble to nobody.
She's learned the error of her ways, right?
So suddenly when all the dimension stuff, all of reality starts to shift and you see all this crazy dead trees and gross colors out there, all I could think was, holy crap, like, I can't believe they're doing this. But her acting,
she lives on Mustafar, right?
Basically, at that point, all she needed to do was start breathing really hard.
Well, that reveal, though, of when it all disappeared and it was a barren wasteland, I was like, oh, they pulled this from Endgame when Thanos waved the reality and he tricked Gamora.
I thought about that.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, dang, man, she's 2 Infinity
Stones. That was Infinity War. That was Infinity War. Maybe.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Infinity War, yeah, Infinity War. Also, I love her performance when she's like, yo, you get to go out there and do things, and they see you as a hero, and they put up statues of you. I try to do what I want, and I'm seen as the villain. That doesn't seem fair. Like, that line, they use it in the trailers. They use it in the trailers every time, and I got goosebumps every time I saw that. And it has the exact same impact when you see it in this movie.
It automatically tells you her motivation and where she's at.
Totally.
I will say the line was great, but I also will say that, I mean, that's every superhero in the MCU, though, because almost each movie I won't say every movie, they've caused the problem that happened. Like, they started it.
That's a good point.
So it's just
that's why
Ultron.
You have the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, the Civil War. Yeah, I mean, and she was made out to be the villain there because she made that mistake of lifting the bomb that high and blowing up the thing. But that's the thing. I was just like, well, I mean, that's everybody, but I understand she's using that as a basis for her evil, and I was like, okay, I understand.
I thought it was also really great writing when, she brings up America Chavez's name and Strange is like, I didn't say her name. And she's like, oh, I guess you didn't. Okay, here we go. Reality, blah, 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 blah.
You caught me. I'm
sorry. You was me the whole time. You got me scarlet-handed. I'll see myself out.
It was Brian Doyle Murray the whole time. He was really Scarlet.
Hey, guys, I'm sorry. Look, it was me the whole time. I'm doing...
That's the second Wanda.
I'm now the Scarlet Witch, okay?
I just want to hear Iago now saying that. No one's going to do it.
But no, it'll probably blow out the...
Yeah.
We're
going to blow out the
speakers. Don't do it. All right, well, here we go. We got the next scene here. When Strange refuses to surrender Chavez, Maximoff attacks Kamar-Taj, killing many sorcerers. We get a whole action sequence with Strange trying to keep Chavez away from her, but Wanda still finds them. Raul, what do you think of this?
No, I thought this was a great scene. I thought the build-up was great, and it was a lot of tension that they did a really good job kind of setting up. With her coming and surrounding the place and all that stuff, and you got all the sorcerers, and seemingly they've got it pretty well blocked off, but somehow all it took was Wanda to just infiltrate just one sorcerer, get into the mind of just one sorcerer, and she just doing that from the inside managed to take down their blockade or whatever. It was very well done.
You ever seen those YouTube videos of this dude who's always trying to throw fake bombs at people, and in the video you hear run boom no 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 boo no no no.
I've heard that song.
I've heard the song. Yeah.
The moment she hides or she goes up behind that one boy with the shields that are up, and she's like, run. I instantly just clicked to that song. But I mean that was just for my own amusement. Yeah, go ahead, Chad.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I really liked it. I didn't know she would get there already so quickly. I was like, okay, she's not gonna send any more cool monsters, because I think the thing is, when you have that many magic users in one area, I want to see some creative stuff, and she was just throwing these kind of like fireball things, and I'm like, all right, that's cool, I guess. But I want to like maybe bring out some tendrils and maybe like a giant monster type of thing to crawl on the side of the. I didn't feel that afraid with her just floating around outside, but I understood what was happening, though. That was.
Well, I think the reason it kind of like the Thanos thing, where she's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." She's already kind of.
And I got that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think as the the whole thing of like Strange trying to prevent her from getting to America Chavez, as she gets closer and closer, she gets creepier and creepier. Like when she gets to the basement and she pops out of that
I
like that. I liked,
and she
really
just like dude, I literally saw Baba Yaga, like the witch, like coming out with like broken arms and legs, having to like flip her body around and twist it.
Yeah. And this goes to what I was saying about the Sam Raimi stuff. When Sam Raimi is allowed to do his thing in this movie, I freaking loved it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I just feel like this should have been a self-contained Sam Raimi movie,
exactly.
just focused on Scarlet Witch and not really so much of the multiverse stuff, honestly.
Yeah. It should have been his own story.
I think it would have, because his fingerprints are all over those scenes with the horror and Scarlet Witch popping out of the mirror. I got like the Ring vibes from her. All that stuff.
Oh, and also the scene where Strange, like as soon as she starts walking into Kamar-Taj, oh my god, I'm messing up this name. The temple. When she starts walking in and Doctor Strange just like hits a button on the floor, I think Wanda steps on a button. And like the mirror thing goes all around her, and the spikes come out. Like that to me was like so comic booky. And the fact that it gets super quiet after she tries to blast around, and then she starts putting her hand slowly into the mirror and goes in like water. That just gave me chills.
Yeah.
Because all I could think was like, this is the liquid form Terminator from Judgment Day, who like is just coming to get you right now. And I am so here for it. That is amazing.
I will say there was a quick reference of all the students and magic users that were out, protecting Kamar-Taj. Or I'm messing it up now.
Kamar-Taj.
Kamar-Taj, yeah.
The Minotaur guy.
Pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
he's an actual character. His name was or I think he was supposed to be Rintrah, who is he was a student of Doctor Strange, like in the mystical arts.
Yeah, I've seen him in the comics before.
Yeah, and I was like,
I forgot his name.
I'm sad he didn't get a little boost, because he would have been maybe a fun character to tag along with them. Be like,
that's so
like
true.
Someone just goes, "Is that a talking Minotaur or something?" Like I would love something. Like that.
Do you think though that he would have had kind of the same vibe as like Korg, where it's like, oh, my name's Korg?
I mean, well, no, because that's the thing with Korg. You have Taika Waititi's voice, and his voice is so comical that it's just hard to take it serious. At least for me, true. I've never seen him in a serious role, Taika Waititi, so it's always comical with him. But if you just had, I forget if the Minotaur spoke at all. While
he did. He had a couple lines. Yeah.
So he didn't. Yeah, he didn't seem that comical. So I was like, he probably would have played it serious, and I
missed opportunity, Sam Raimi.
But no, there's plenty of opportunities that I thought, but I did love the whole horror sequence of her entering inside. Like after the initial battle outside, I was like, okay, this I like on the inside of the Citadel.
Also, I really like the callback to the What If series when Doctor Strange sends out these like snake dragons at Wanda.
Yeah, when did he learn to do that?
Right? Here's the thing. In my brain, like in my mind, watching What If, Doctor Strange does that same type of ability. I don't know if it's the evil Doctor Strange in the What If series.
It's the evil Doctor Strange. He learns to. I can't remember the episode, but I know he's consumed by the dark magic, and then he's able to absorb these different creatures and stuff like that. And as he does that, he's able to use their powers and stuff, and kind of morph into these creatures. So when we saw that shot in the trailer where he's like shooting out those tendrils, I thought that was a different Doctor Strange. I didn't know that was 616 Doctor Strange. So when I saw that, I was like, how did he learn to do that?
I think that scene from What If is what gave me the implication that if I see that again, I'll understand that that's normal now. Whereas, just like the Darkhold, man, they should have showed me that in the beginning in WandaVision, and then I would have been more okay with it in the movie. But, Chad, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that as Sorcerer Supreme or just a sorcerer in general, he's always learning new spells, and that's the cool thing about.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I want to see new stuff
that
he does, because he's learning so many spells. And the thing with him is, at least in the comics, to get more powerful, he makes deals with demons, so he learns he calls on their power to use. And so that's why I'm like, oh, every new thing he's done, he's acquired through some adventure or maybe a book he's read or practiced and stuff like that. And so that's why I was like, I'd love to see more new stuff instead of like the rope lasso and things like that. It's like, all right, we've already treaded here, the shield things. And I was like, okay, we've seen those. But that's why I'm like, I want you to go over, like, show me spells that I couldn't even comprehend. That's why
Wingardium Leviosa, go!
Or like that would have been funny if they did a Harry Potter joke.
But there were a few new things. There were a few new things. Though,
no, there were.
That like in the musical note. I mean, we'll
get to that. Yeah,
we'll get to that later. Right? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's move on to the next scene here. We got Chavez accidentally transports herself and Strange through different dimensions, eventually finding themselves in Earth 838, an Earth where Doctor Strange was seen as a hero for sacrificing himself in order to defeat Thanos. We see a Bruce Campbell cameo and some flashbacks from Chavez and Strange's lives. Thoughts on this, you guys?
I wanted Bruce Campbell to have a bigger role in this, but I was happy with what he gave. I was like, okay, fine.
I think Bruce Campbell gave the cameo that I expected him to be given, but also it's like one of the things I liked about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies was every time you see Bruce Campbell, it's during a scene that actually is pushing the story forward. Like, one of my favorite moments from Spider-Man 2 is, like, Peter goes to the Broadway show to see Mary Jane's show, and Bruce Campbell's the cameo, and he's the guy, the usher, who's not letting Peter go in to see Mary Jane, which is causing conflict for the two characters later. Yeah. Whereas this scene, like this cameo that Bruce Campbell had, was just there. Doctor Strange and America Chavez are in the middle of a conversation that's pushing the story forward. And then Bruce Campbell just shows up and goes, "Hey, you can't steal my pizza balls. What are you doing? Give me money." Yeah. And it's like, it's fun because, it's Bruce Campbell. But it's like, you'd like to see a little bit more flavor.
I didn't mind it the first time. We can get to the after credits scene later.
No.
At least this first time I didn't mind it so much.
Well, I was hoping he would be some sort of character, and in my head also I was like, oh, that'd be so sweet if he was like an evil version of Strange, like he was another Doctor Strange that was like not good, or at least, I don't know, an unearthly dimensional person or creature or something. Yeah. And I was like, they missed an opportunity with that, but I.
But usually, I mean, in like the Spider-Man movies, usually his cameos are that kind of cameo.
I know.
Oh, the quirky character that shows up for this one scene, and then that's it.
But I think with his vocal ability, he could have been someone who, if he didn't want to do anything physical, comedy wise or whatever, he could have vocally berated Strange from as like a floating. Weird thing to like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do Bruce Campbell, but yeah.
So. I can't either. I will say, I didn't even catch it the first time. It wasn't until I was watching something on YouTube where somebody pointed this out. The whole gag where he's like punching himself, like it did not connect with me that was a reference to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, I caught that at the end. I was like, oh, nice. That's a little.
I did, Dead. And then afterwards I heard that. I was like, oh, of course, because it did seem weird. When I watched it the first time, but I guess if I had caught on to that while watching it the first time, I would have enjoyed it a little more.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. It was nice to see him. I expected to see him at some point.
Yeah, I think it's a joy when you see Bruce Campbell anywhere, because I think when you see that man's face, he's just so lovable.
I love Bruce.
But going back really quick to there was a moment about Chavez and Strange's memories file videos.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw America Chavez's backstory, I was excited to get to know the character a little bit more, but I can't lie when I say that the first time I watched her parents get taken into another multiverse, I burst out laughing.
Oh, really?
In such a terrible way, I didn't mean to, but it just looks so comical the way that they just got sucked in. And so the second time around, I was like, okay, be serious. Really, really pay attention to this scene. And I thought it was really lovely the way that her moms like were trying to be as loving as they can. They're in this universe where the world's only filled with women, and like a bee's what scared.
Was it only women?
Chavez. Yeah. I believe that's true. I do know her parents were both women.
Well, no, I just thought that was her parents. Like,
I'm pretty sure it might
family.
be her. I'll Google it. I'll double check. But Chad, what did you think of that though?
I mean, I was like, oh, that's an interesting aspect of she's stuck. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a Quantum Leap. Always trying to leap on the way back home.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's like, I miss my home and my family. And the fact that Strange was saying, oh, no, your parents are still alive. I was like, no. Depending on where they went, no, it's probably not.
She's been to 70 plus universes and she still hasn't found them. That's kind of sad, man. But
also with them labeling, I mean, I know we're not at the scene, but when they label it 616 and things like that, it's like, when someone have a question like, what's Earth 1 then? Like, I'd be interested. Like, what is? Because it's such a big number, 616 and 838. Like, oh, so...
Well, that's taken from the comics, which is...
No, and I got that, but I was like, but what's for Earth Prime or Earth 1?
You know what bothered me about that, though? I thought I did not... It kind of took me aback when I heard that the MCU universe that we are following is 616, because I just thought that would be a different designation because 616 is the comics.
No, I thought I remember saying or hearing that the MCU is a different one than the comics.
Right, 1999-99 is what the designation was for the MCU. At least that's never something that the movies have brought up or even Kevin Feige. I think that is a designation that fans have given it. Or something. I can't remember where that designation came from.
Well, not Kevin Feige specifically, but someone on the Marvel thing, or I thought said it was a different. They're not the same, so that's why. They're
but then but in this movie they designate it 616. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is 616 now. For those who are only casual fans of this, this is all going to go way over your head.
Sorry, yes.
We are super getting into the.
But you're going to learn today.
You're going to learn now. All right.
Well, let's see. We got the next scene here. All right. So, Strange and Chavez meet Mordo, Earth 838 Mordo. He introduces them to the idea of dreamwalking. Meanwhile, Wanda uses the Darkhold to dreamwalk, taking control of her Earth 838 counterpart, who lives a suburban life with her own Billy and Tommy. Mordo puts something in Strange and Chavez's tea, knocking them out. Can I just say this was another part that made me kind of laugh a little bit, just because when Mordo is explaining how dreamwalking works, they played like this 80s synth music with guitar, kind of rock style music, so that you see Wanda focusing and dreamwalking, and it's just like, and you're like, what the heck am I watching? Is this a movie from the 80s? This is hilarious. But other than that, once she goes into the other universe and takes over her other version, her counterpart, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was awesome. Yeah, go ahead, Raul.
And that's a Sam Raimi signature with the camera floating around.
Yeah.
You see that. That's all over the Evil Dead movies. In fact, specifically, when a demon is looking to possess someone, that's what happens in the Evil Dead movies. He does that camera trick where the camera is floating around, and it's almost like a POV view of, you are the demon looking for someone to inhabit. So he did the exact same thing here, and I thought it was super cool.
It's very Friday the 13th kind of thing, I would say, too. Or Halloween.
Yeah.
Very Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween, the POV, hunting down the person. Yeah.
Chad, any thoughts for you?
I really enjoyed that scene. I was surprised how fast she took over the body, because it seemed like it didn't work at first. And I was like, oh, wait, maybe it didn't. And then she looks in the reflection, and which I really like that shot where it's her spirit, in the reflection there. And I really enjoyed that sequence.
The shot where she sees her reflection gave me a Hulk movie from, the Hulk 2001 movie, or what year did that one come out? The first Hulk movie?
Let's just say 2000.
It was 2003.
3.
Don't ask me how I remember that.
You've got the brain.
You got a steel trap up there.
I know this random shit. I'm remembering to go to the grocery store and get eggs. No, but this shit, it sticks with me.
Your wife must be so proud.
Yeah.
But you guys remember that shot though, where Bruce Banner looks in the mirror in the bathroom, and Hulk just like grabs him and is like, I don't know what he says.
Yeah.
But it kind of gave me that same.
Or something like that.
Yeah, there it is. It gave me that same kind of vibe without, Scarlet Witch grabbing Wanda and being like puny human.
Yeah.
But I think it played out really well. I think the way they set Sam Raimi directed it was awesome. Also the Chavez and Strange drinking the tea. If you guys remember, America Chavez in the scene is like, what's in this? Like, what'd you put in this? Which I thought was like a callback to the first movie of Strange, where he drinks the tea. And then, the ancient sends him back. So when he comes back, he's like, what did you put in that tea?
Yeah.
You remember that? I mean, am I overthinking it? Am I, like, stretching it a little?
No, I mean, like, it didn't pop in my head, but now that you bring it up, I was like, oh, yeah, he did get knocked or drink it. I mean, I don't know. They drink tea there.
What'd you put in that tea? Honey, I put
it was tea.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
I mean, like, I would think a lot of tea he's British. Or at least I guess he's...
Well, Dr. Strange is American,
his character's American, yeah. Did you know initially in the comics he was Asian, and then they slowly made him white?
Doctor Strange?
Yeah. Like his first appearance in the Strange Tales, because he didn't have his own comic yet. He was like slightly Asian looking, and then they kind of turned it into that, and I was like, oh. Well,
I did not know that. Wow. Is he like originally from...
Strange Tales?
What? Yeah, I'm gonna have to read up on that. Then that's awesome.
Yeah, like he was like introduced in 1963, and it wasn't his own book, so it was just like other tales of things going on. But he was introduced, and then he got his own comic later. Because before Sorcerer Supreme, like, because he wasn't. That's one thing I really liked. He wasn't initially quickly thrown into the Sorcerer Supreme thing. He was Master of Black Magic, Mystical Arts, and I would have loved to see that progress over more than one movie. Like he finally becomes Sorcerer Supreme later. I was like, oh, that's cool. He did it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so sure he's gonna be Sorcerer Supreme.
No, I know he probably will, but I know they did the twist around because in the comics, Wong is his like manservant type of guy.
Who knows though? Like maybe what I always say is I definitely think they're gonna reboot the MCU after like the next 10 years are done. And if they do, then hey, that gives them an opportunity to give us an Asian.
You think so?
Strange.
You think
I would. No, I would
so.
not be interested in it though.
I think for us it'd be like, all right,
I would get off the train.
Yeah, like our MCU is over. The next one is for the next generation of kiddos, But I think that would give them an excuse to bring back a new Steve Rogers, a new Tony Stark. Maybe they could interact with the X-Men in the future, kind of thing.
Can I just say, after Endgame, I think this phase is for the new generation because. Like, imagine all, because, like, what?
They just keep changing the roster. That's all.
Well, no, because from 2008 was, like, what? The Incredible Hulk, and then when was Endgame? Like, that's a decade or more?
2019.
20, but, like, how many years is that? Like, 12, 13? I don't know.
That's 11.
Years, I'd say.
11 years?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so many kids were probably born within those 11 years, and they maybe grow up watching, like, I don't think they would have seen those first movies, right? So, they gotta pull people in with these new stuff, so it's just like I don't think.
And there's still so much to come that will intrigue people because we still haven't even seen Fantastic Four yet. We're gonna get mutants at some point. There's still new stuff that's gonna come.
They're slowly pushing us in, like every age group into these MCU movies. The more and more that they do it, which I think is a great idea as to why they're introducing characters like America Chavez, who's such a she's a teenager. She's literally like 15, 16, and they're bringing up more young characters to start possibly doing Young Justice,
Young Avengers,
Young Avengers. Why did I say Young Justice? Oh,
that's the wrong one.
But I will say that it's like the fact that it's not a finite set story is aggravating. It's like it's not going to end here. I want it to end. Like
end.
Not that I think they're terrible. It's just I just like a finished story. I don't want it to keep drawing. Like it seems like they're just trying to make it so long, and it's like I get it.
Listen.
I understand.
they're trying. What they're doing is they're trying to emulate the comics. And
yes,
honestly,
and I get it.
The comics are just gonna keep going on and on and on. Now, whether or not that works for films, it remains to be seen. But that seems like what they're trying to do. You know, doing crossovers and just continuing the series.
And it's cool, but
it is cool. It's weird though to think that the MCU, I don't know, you say it might be rebooted, Kevin, but I feel like the MCU could very well outlive us.
That would be terrifying.
That's possible.
Okay, how about
we will never see the end of the story.
I'll rephrase it to this. I think Kevin Feige will drop out of it by the time 10 years is done. Like the next 10 years,
it'll turn to crap.
When he's done his second Infinity War and second Endgame, then he's gonna be done, which means we will be done. I'm assuming, unless Captain America comes back and gets the best of me.
Disney will want to be like, well, we can't let this cash cow go to waste.
We gotta milk the teats of the MCU. It's not dry. We gotta just keep milking as much as we can.
Well, something I do appreciate about the MCU is that they have learned to become darker and darker and kind of go off of not just being like this nice Disney storytelling thing. Which, speaking of dark stuff, here's the next scene we got here. A surviving sorceress sacrifices herself to destroy the Darkhold and break the Dreamwalk. Enraged, Maximoff forces Wong to lead her to Mount Wundagore, the source of the Darkhold's power, to reestablish the Dreamwalk. I just want to say, when the sorceress, who I think had a love interest situation with Wong, when she got burnt to a crisp, that was so graphic. Watching that happen just made my heart stop for half a second. I couldn't believe they even showed that on camera, but
There's
I was
that
like,
Sam Raimi touch again.
Sam Raimi did it again, my boy.
That and I really like that scene. Also, I have to say it's called WandaCore. That's how they said it in the movie, and that's why I was like, that's funny. The place is named after Wanda. WandaCore.
WandaCore.
But
didn't even get that until just now, yeah.
But it is spelled, I think it is spelled the way you have it written down, the WUNDA. But they pronounce it WandaCore for some reason. I don't know. But no, the whole scene, the sacrifice was great to push Wong, into.
I feel like they just needed something for Wong to do, and I felt bad because it's like, damn, like he's the most disrespected freaking Sorcerer Supreme.
No, everybody bowed to him and everything like that. He just, it's the friendship.
He's
between...
disrespected by Strange,
bro.
Yeah,
he gets
he gets disrespected.
It's like how I disrespect
by Strange.
you, Kevin.
Wait, but he gets disrespected by Strange. He gets tossed around by Wanda everywhere. Like, you see the way Wanda treated him just to get him to go to Mount WandaCore?
I mean, she didn't kill him.
But because she knew that she needed him. He's the only one that knows how to get to Wundagore.
I mean, I think with her spell, she could probably bring him back to life or make him lose an arm or something,
at the end of the day, all she wants is her kids. And when a mother wants to do something like that, she's willing to do anything.
True.
Which is, I think, another part of Wanda's, Elizabeth Olsen's performance that I thought stuck to me really, really well.
Although I personally think that she, it would have been much more interesting if she was using the Darkhold to find her family, and then Doctor Strange entered her story saying you can't, and then the fight started that way. Like, she was turned bad only because of what she's doing with the book and things like that, But yeah.
Well, Raul, what did you think of the whole?
Yeah, Raul,
surviving sorceress sacrificing herself.
No, I thought it was a great scene. I thought it was. I don't know. To me, this was this was getting us ready for the next thing, right? And it goes to show just how powerful Wanda is. Like nobody can get by her, right?
Yeah.
So you get to see like the collateral damage that is caused by Wanda, and at this point, like she's straight up killing people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad to see because you've seen Wanda's story up until now, and of course, especially if you've seen WandaVision, you're endeared to her, and so now seeing this turn, like she's straight up killing people. Like there's no going back from that. I mean, maybe it can be argued, but for me, it's kind of hard to redeem yourself from that.
I mean, once that sorceress burned herself to a crisp, Wanda wasn't thinking like, oh man, another dead person. She was just like, oh my god, this chick really got in my way. Oh boy, what am I gonna do now?
Right.
Like, what a heartless person, man.
Yeah, that's true. That that sorceress sacrificed herself. She wasn't directly killed by Wanda, but it's just in an indirect way. Wanda is the cause of all this happening. You know, these people didn't have to die, but
no, definitely. Well, next scene we got over here, we got Strange and Chavez wake up to find themselves locked up. Our Strange meets Christine, 838, who studies the multiverse, naming Strange's universe 616. They're brought before the Illuminati, a group consisting of Mordo, Peggy Carter, Blackagar Boltagon, Maria Rambeau, Reed Richards, and Charles Xavier. They explain that through reckless use of their universe's Darkhold in an attempt to defeat Thanos, Earth's 838's Strange triggered a universe-destroying incursion. After defeating Thanos, the Illuminati executed their Strange to prevent him from causing more harm. They're afraid that Strange 616 might be a danger to everyone as well. Yeah, so I think this scene was just another big like exposition thing, which I didn't mind at all. I think mainly because Professor Xavier was the one doing it. Just the moment he starts talking, you're like, oh my god, it's Professor Xavier. Okay, let's go. But the other thing is the fact that Christine 838 is the one who's naming all the universes. I thought that was really fascinating. What about you guys?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. And like you're saying, this is an exposition scene, but the blow is softened because, you know, exposition scenes have a tendency to get a little dull and kind of slow the pace of the movie a little bit. But the blow for me was softened a little bit by all the cameos. So
yeah.
But I like, you know, like we were saying earlier, the cameos, you know, I liked. I wish I wasn't spoiled by them as much as I was going in. But I did like. I thought it was cool to see, you know. And I think the one, honestly, I loved, you know, Patrick Stewart and John Krasinski. Those were like some huge cameos. But the one I reacted to the biggest, and the one I was so delighted by, was seeing Captain Carter. Captain Carter,
oh, yeah.
That was the one when she showed up. I was like, oh yeah, like I wasn't expecting that. Because if you watched What If. Seeing Captain Carter, you see the alternate universe of you know, where if Peggy Carter had taken the super soldier serum rather than Steve Rogers, and she became, for me, and I think for a lot of people, kind of the fan favorite of What If. And we were all hoping to see her back at some point, possibly in What If Season 2. But no, they brought her back here, and I think it's still unclear whether it's the same Captain Carter or it's a different Captain Carter, right? Because
I'm pretty sure they said it wasn't the same one, but it's still like a Captain Carter character type in the universe.
Because when she bites it, I'm like, oh no, like that's it for Captain Carter. But it could be a different Captain Carter.
Yo, England got chopped in half.
Yeah. I will say really quick about John Krasinski. I you know, all the fan casting and all the hype with John Krasinski potentially being Mr. Fantastic. I was excited about, you know, seeing, you know, the potential of seeing John Krasinski, and then he shows up as Mr. Fantastic. Gotta say, he felt a little flat to me.
I don't think he got enough time. I think they didn't give us enough screen time to get to like really know who this character was. Although I will say also, to me, because he dies in the like literally the next scene, what I got was like, this is a Reed Richards that basically already did his 10 years of MCU movies, and this is the end of his arc of like, he already had kids, he already had his wife, you know, he got the Fantastic Four, everything that happened to him already happened, and so we're seeing a Reed Richards that like is already done being this arrogant jerk kind of character. He's found his true self is what I got from it. And so when he died, I was like, well, all right, well, I don't know. Like, I don't mind if he dies because I know we're going to see him now eventually in a new Fantastic Four movie. Yeah. I don't know if we'll see Krasinski specifically, but this was definitely his audition, I feel, for the rest of the MCU, you know?
I just felt it was a little lacking. I haven't seen John Krasinski in much of other stuff. Like, I know he's got that show, Jack Ryan. Like, I haven't seen that show, so I don't know how.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah, I just haven't seen him in much other than The Office, but like, I don't know. For me, at least,
The Quiet Place. Did you see A Quiet Place?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. He was in The Quiet Place.
He doesn't talk much, though.
But he doesn't talk.
Yeah, just like Black Bolt.
He doesn't talk. And the whole feeling of A Quiet Place. It's kind of a dour kind of the vibe of that movie's kind of it kind of matched. He
also,
was
if you think about it, Black Bolt would have been the perfect superhero to bring to the quiet what's it called?
Oh yeah,
Quiet
he would
Place
still
universe.
be alive.
Oh,
yeah. If Black Bolt was in the Quiet Place movie, he would be the last one standing.
He would literally just be killing all the monsters just by going, "Hey, how's it going?" Boom.
Yeah.
All dead.
But yeah, I was gonna say that's the only thing is like after seeing him, I'm like, I don't know if I want to see him again as Mr. Fantastic. If he ends up being in the Fantastic Four movie, fine. Maybe there's maybe he can do more with it, having his own movie to be in. But as far as what I saw in these scenes, I just thought he felt a little wooden. That's all.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. I think we need to see so much more of him for sure. If he ends up being if he ends up being Mr. Fantastic for the MCU later down the line, then I'm not going to be like, "Ah, man," but I'm also not going to be like, "Oh, snap," because I think the MCU has done a really good job at casting characters or actors who really do identify with the characters that they're playing. And John Krasinski kind of just gives me he's just such a nice guy that like it's going to be really hard to see him try to be a total jerk in the beginning of his arc for his character, if that is the case. Chad, what about you? What did you think, real quick?
I thought it was, well, obviously the I forgot Captain Carter was the third thing that was spoiled for me, so I already knew she was going to be that in that
really?
scene. Yeah, so that was the third one.
How did it get spoiled?
I forget. I think it was in the same one that mentioned Krasinski, and I was like, well, okay.
Oh man.
But it was. I waited so long to see the movie. I didn't really care. Like it was 2 weeks in, so I was like, all right. I already know. I've been holding off going to see it because I wasn't as excited as.
Yeah.
At the time, I was just still exhausted from the MCU and stuff, and I was like, all right, I'll go. But no, the scene was nice. I just felt. It didn't need to be the Illuminati. It could have been some other random group. It didn't, it felt kind of forced a little bit, but I understood the purpose and, the fact that they all just get killed like that. I was like, okay, well, that was shocking. It was shocking to see, but I was just like, there wasn't a lot of weight to it, that scene. Also, we don't know what happened to that universe after they left because those powerful people are dead now. So that might be in turmoil. Oh, who knows?
But I feel like anything could happen after Wanda killed all of them. Like the fact that Reed Richards had his kids, I think one of his kids is like the most powerful being in the universe or something. And maybe like there's some people online that were saying, "Oh, his son's gonna get his revenge. He's gonna go kill Wanda."
Well, a descendant of him is Kang the Conqueror.
Oh,
right.
yeah, that's true.
Franklin Richards. Yeah.
But Reed Richards' kids, like his direct children, like his two kids, one of them is like super ultra powerful. But
so is Xavier's kid from Legion. He's
that's right.
He's ridiculously powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's crazy though. So.
Also, another thing is before we go to the next scene here is I think Captain Carter got spoiled just through the marketing. Not only in the trailers did you see like the back of her shield with like some jetpacks when she's fighting Wanda, but on the posters you can see her shield that's a little bit cracked or something in the multiverse all around Doctor Strange.
See,
so
I didn't catch any
of
of that. After I saw the Super Bowl trailer, basically the second trailer.
Yeah,
I stopped paying attention to the marketing because I was like, "Oh, I'm in. Like, I don't need to see anything else." So I didn't. I guess So if they spoiled her in like a teaser or like a TV spot or like a poster, I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it wasn't a TV spot for me. It was just because 2 weeks in, there was no avoiding any spoilers. And I was like, you know what? I don't care if it's spoiled. I'm still flipping through or whatever. And the Krasinski popped up and Captain Carter. I was like, okay. So it's like, I should see this now before anything else gets spoiled. So, and I did.
Also, one other thing I was going to bring up is the fact that, I agree that when they all got killed off, it kind of just felt like, oh, man, well, I kind of didn't care about them. But, like, I realized by the end of the movie watching it that I was like, oh, like, the point of that scene of all the cameo characters getting murdered was that these are characters that don't matter, so we can prove to the audience that Wanda is serious about killing people 100%. By killing all of some of the most famous characters that are in the Illuminati. That's insane. And so to me, like, if that was the whole point of them being in it, then okay, they did their job. It worked. Do I want to see more of them? Of course I do. Will I? Maybe.
And I think to what you were saying about, like, to your point about, like, not having enough time to care about them, I guess it's still, I guess it could be argued that it's fine because they're not our version. We still have our version coming. We'll definitely see Fantastic Four, but with mutants, I don't know. Are we gonna? We may or may not see Patrick Stewart again. Maybe it'll be a different actor playing Patrick Stewart or playing Xavier, but we still, it's fine. I guess it's fine in this case because, that's like a different alternate universe version of the Illuminati.
All right, well, we're going to start going on a little bit of a lightning round now because we're getting a little close to our time here. So we're going to cut to the next scene here. Strange, Chavez, and Palmer enter the space between universes to find the Book of Vishanti, which is the antithesis to the Darkhold. But Maximoff appears and destroys it. She then takes over Chavez's mind, using her powers to send the others to an incursion-destroyed universe. I don't have too many thoughts about this. I just thought it was a cool sequence. As soon as the Book of Vishanti got burnt, I was like, God damn it. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't want to let myself believe it until it actually happened. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to say, I really liked it, but I wanted after she left the body of the Scarlet Witch from that world, I wanted her to be stuck there, and that would have been really dark to see. Like, if she didn't make it home.
Thought that was going to I thought that's where they were going with it.
Yeah.
And before she jumped up and out of it, I was like, "Oh, this is so messed up. She's just gonna leave her there."
But then that door was open.
Yeah, she jumped out.
But wait, she had powers after, which I didn't understand. So I was like, "What? Because like she remember she was able to fly at one point.
Well, yeah, because that was still Wanda Maximoff. She still had the powers that she had, no matter what.
She just wasn't the Scarlet Witch,
right? Like the Scarlet Witch, she hadn't acquired that ability in that universe.
But I don't think she was a hero in that universe because they referred to her as just a like a citizen, like human, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because she probably didn't want to be part of the Avengers. She was probably like, nah, no thanks. Like, I know I have the powers that I do, but it could have also been that maybe she was a mutant in that universe, and Professor Xavier acknowledged that and was like, don't worry, we're mutants and we're all going to be living happy lives.
Yeah, he didn't give off that vibe.
No.
I will say about this scene. I don't really have much to say either, but the only thing I will say is that I love that sequence where she's chasing them through the tunnel again. Yeah. And anytime, all the Raimi stuff, when he's able to do, that's what works the most for me about this movie. And again, God, I wish that was just more self-contained. When this movie deals with the multiverse, it feels kind of half-assed to me. But when this movie just goes straight up with Wanda and her thing, and of course, Wanda is tied to the multiverse because the whole thing is she's looking for her kids in the multiverse. So you can't really divorce the Wanda story from the multiverse aspect, but for me, this movie works the best when it's just self-contained Wanda chasing after them and doing her thing. That scene, it's just like all the horror stuff, when they've got her stuck behind that big door, and then you don't know if she's gonna bust through the door or not, and then she stops banging on the door, and then she pops up right in front of them. That was so cool.
Can I just say though, when I saw that scene for the first time, and the door came down. Doctor Strange, America Chavez, and Christine, they all just stop running and they turn around just to watch. Like, I was sitting in my seat going, what are you waiting for?
Why would you do that?
Yeah, and I had people sitting next to me that were also like, go, what are you doing?
You know what? You could argue that that's a horror movie. I mean, that's a horror movie trope as well. Because how many times you've been in a horror movie, you've watched a horror movie in the theater, and then everybody's going, "What the hell? Just run, go!"
See, that's why we got Jordan Peele making movies now. Because whenever he makes a scary movie, all the characters are like, "Oh hell no, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not gonna be a part of this stuff. We're all gonna die if we walk in there." But I do appreciate Sam Raimi's love for the scary stuff. However, that pause just to wait to see if she would appear, I felt like was just such a long, pregnant pause. Longer than I thought it needed to be. Like, dang, man. A pregnant pause, Chad. You like that?
Pregnant pause.
I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, pregnant pause. Just
well, clearly you've never been pregnant.
Yeah.
Big old pause.
Next scene over here. We got Strange fights and defeats the destroyed universe's Strange, who has been corrupted by his universe's Darkhold, and uses it to dreamwalk into the body of his deceased counterpart on Earth 616, Defender Strange. Was that corrupted version of Strange, did he actually say things just got out of hand in the movie, or was that just in the trailer?
You know what?
It's just in the trailer.
I think it was just in the trailer.
Gosh darn you, Kevin Feige.
I don't know.
The marketing team.
Honestly, when I saw that line in the trailer, I was like, I don't know. It just felt kind of cheesy to me. It just got the delivery. I don't know. I was fine.
It's one of those Sam Raimi cheesy lines.
I was fine that they didn't.
Yeah,
have
it was cut out. Yeah.
I honestly didn't even notice.
Then we got our next scene here. With Wong's help, Strange saves Chavez from Maximoff if she tries to say.
Wait a minute!
You didn't do the fight.
Dude, the musical note fight.
Yeah,
we totally skipped over that.
Oh my God, that's right. That's right. The musical note fight. Well, okay, I'll just say my quick thoughts. I thought it was lame.
No!
What did you think of it? What did you think, Raul? I feel like you must have liked it.
I know. I've heard people complain about this scene, but I really dug it. And I don't know. I'm kind of a music guy. Like, I really like music and things like that. And so I thought it was a very clever... Visually, does it make sense for them to be fighting with musical notes? Not really, but visually, as an audience member, I dug it. I love the whole idea that they're bringing these musical notes to life from the sheet music that's just randomly laying around, and they're literally fighting each other with the music notes and throwing the musical notes at each other, and the music that Danny Elfman's score starts to play into the fight, and as they're throwing these musical notes at each other, Danny Elfman's specifically scoring those musical hits, and I thought it was so cleverly done.
I will say this, I think it was cool seeing two wizards basically Jackie Channing each other with everything around them. Like, that was pretty cool, using the magic of that stuff. Although the downside, to me, in my opinion, for that fight was that everything was in slow motion most of the fight. And it was like this thing where it's like, wow, the adrenaline for me is gone. Like, I get to see this cool magic stuff. The magic was awesome. It looked so badass. But the fact that it took 7 years for the attacks to land on each other, I was like, oh my God, when are we going to do this? To me, it felt like, again, I adore Danny Elfman. But to me, it felt like this was just Danny Elfman's fight scene. Like, it wasn't about the Strangers.
And I loved it.
It was about Danny Elfman specifically.
And see, I guess it hits differently for you than it does for me. That's what I liked about it, is that, and I guess I didn't mind the slow motion so much because it gave Danny Elfman a chance to, I was like, that was the part of the movie where I just kind of stopped and paid a little more attention to the score and how clever Danny Elfman was being with the scene. So I didn't mind the slow motion. Sorry, Chad, what do you think, Chad? What do you think?
Oh no, I love the fight, especially with the music composed for it, because you heard it went back and forth between like a good Strange theme, or not their theme specifically. I forget what was the actual, because it was a classical score that was being played.
Yes, I think it was Ride of the Valkyries, or at least one of them was.
One of them was, and then the other one, and then I think that was for the evil one, and then for the good one, I forget what it was, but it was fun to hear that played back and go back and forth with each other, and I don't know, I wanted more zany spell stuff like that, and I only got it in that scene, so I was like happy to see it. So this is fun. So I really liked it.
All I could see was just Danny Elfman's face just magically appearing on screen going, "You like my music? Ah!" And I'm just like, yes, Danny, we love your music, dude, but I want to see Doctor Strange fight now. Come on, man. But anyways, moving on to the next scene here. With Wong's help, Strange saves Chavez from Maximoff as she tries to take Chavez's powers and encourages Chavez to use her abilities while he looks like a zombie. She transports Maximoff to Earth 838, where she sees Billy and Tommy recoil from fear, while crying for their real mother. Okay, so what'd you guys think of this scene?
I really love the look of the undead. Version of Strange, and I thought initially when the trailer came out, when we saw him in the trailer, I was like, oh, is that going to be the villain of the movie? And I was like, that'd be really cool, but we didn't obviously get that. But I was like, it just goes to show, I think I would like to see Sam Raimi do another Strange movie, but his own thing with that kind of like feel of undead and creatures and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Like the Cape of the Demons, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah,
that was okay. Yeah,
bleep,
one per episode.
That's the one. That's the one F word for the episode.
All right, PG-13, everybody.
But the cape looked awesome. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, that was so cool. And again, I sound like a broken record, but the Raimi stuff, like when he does the horror stuff, it works so well for me. And I love the Undead Strange. For Undead Strange, I appreciate the practical makeup effects.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure there was some CGI enhancements or something, but you could tell for the most part that was practical makeup effects. I'm a huge like gore geek, especially with like 80s kind of horror. So I love the kind of practical special effects that they do with makeup and all that stuff in those movies. So when I saw it here, I was like, yes. I mean, give me that. So I thought it looked great. And I love, when I knew, I had a feeling, I didn't know exactly how it was going to play in. And also I kind of, from the trailers, you kind of assumed the Undead Strange was going to show up at some point. But from the beginning, in the beginning of the movie, when Defender Strange dies and then they kind of bury him for a little bit, I'm like, we're going to see him again at the end. He's getting this
genius.
Is like, it's such a good
callback.
It's like a Chekhov's gun scenario, right? They introduce the gun at the beginning, and then you don't see it, and then it comes back in the end. That's what I was. I knew he was going to come back.
Can I also just say, Chad said something to me a little while back where he thought it'd be a really cool idea if Sam Raimi did a Marvel Zombies type of thing, which I would die if Raimi decided to do a zombie MCU movie. Maybe like Deadpool comes into the universe and starts killing all the zombie versions of themselves. That would be incredible.
I know they're coming out with a Marvel Zombies show.
Yeah, they are.
Is it going to be animated though?
Yeah, it's
probably.
So they could get away with more of the gore, I would assume.
Yeah.
Because if it's on Disney Plus, you can't have that much. But I will say, I do have another plot that I think they could do, but I'll save it for the end so we could get through the rest of the movie.
Yeah, sure. Let's go to the next scene then, shall we? Maximoff relents and uses her powers to bring down Mount Wundagore simultaneously. Oh wait, can I just say really quick? Sorry, the fear that Billy and Tommy had with Wanda's reaction, where she was just like, "Stop it!" Like when I saw that scene, I was like, "Bro, like Elizabeth Olsen deserves a freaking award for this goddamn performance.
Really well.
So good. That anger and the frustration of not letting her kids love her. Like, okay, anyways, moving on. Let me go back again.
I loved it too. The whole like realization, like, oh my God, I'm a monster.
Yeah. Mommy Dearest vibes.
That was
Mommy Dearest.
Exactly. That's the thing that to me was like, oh, she's a great villain. Like perfect. Like I knew she was perfect from the beginning, but like this just like sold it for me 100%.
Yeah.
So anyways, Maximoff brings down Wundagore, simultaneously destroying all copies of the Darkhold throughout the multiverse, and apparently somebody wrote, I got this from Wikipedia, they wrote, apparently sacrificing herself in the process. Chavez returns Strange and Palmer to their respective universes. Yeah, I really like the apparently. That is definitely the word of the day. Because I know, you guys know, there's no way they're not gonna bring her back. Even if Elizabeth Olsen complains that she's like, oh, I'm missing some work from other movies. Girl, you are one of the most beloved characters right now in the MCU. You think Kevin Feige's not gonna
I wouldn't miss her though.
Get out of here, Chad.
I will say, I mean, I loved, especially, again, like after seeing WandaVision, you connect with her so much more and you empathize with her so much more. So, especially after WandaVision and this movie, I'm sad to see her go. But I will say, I don't think they're going to bring her back anytime in the near future. But maybe they got that little thing tucked in her back in their back pocket.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case, way down the line later. I do feel like we will see her again, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, I would say like right now it's 2022. I don't think we'll see Maximoff until maybe 2024, maybe 25.
Possibly. Oh, sorry, Chad.
Oh no, I was just gonna say possibly like another multiverse event or Avengers movie film where she'll get pulled into it
or possibly well after X-Men is established, because then they can bring her back in but within the X-Men, and that's how you can make the connection with her and the X-Men.
Totally. Oh, she has so much more to give. I feel like there's so much more we can flesh out of her, And like even Elizabeth Olsen herself was saying that when they did WandaVision, there was so much in that storytelling and then in Multiverse of Madness that she was dying to go through. So we've only scratched the surface. We've got so much more to see from her. Now, next scene we got here is sometime later, Kamar-Taj. The temple is repaired.
Kamar-Taj.
Kamara-Rakuka. Kumail Nanjiani is repaired.
Wow.
And the surviving...
Kumbaya.
Kevin.
You know what, Chad?
Canceled.
Get at me.
You're canceled.
Canceled. All canceled. So the temple's repaired, and the surviving sorceress, joined by Chavez, continue training. Later, Strange develops a third eye as a result of using the Darkhold and dreamwalking into a corpse. Interesting. I really like that Chavez is at... I mean, you know, we all knew she was going to end up staying in the MCU because we just introduced her. But I do like that she's working with the sorcerers and, like, learning from them so she can channel her own mystical art powers.
Mm-hmm. I want to
possibly have a good hold on her multiverse punching abilities.
Yeah, I want to see eventually we see maybe at Kamar-Taj, you know, a few years down the line, we'll see Kamar-Taj like America Chavez and Ned learning magic together.
Oh, I want to see that too. But he's in college.
Yeah, he's in college.
The third eye he developed. So I thought it was to make up for the eye of Agamotto because
did you really just say Agamotto? Come on.
Yeah, it's Agamotto.
It's Agamotto.
Tomato.
No, it's so wrong.
Agamotto.
As you were saying.
The Agamotto, okay? So the
13.
The fact that the eye was reliant on the Infinity Stone, that was disappointing to me. So I hope this is a replacement for it because there was an actual eye in the eye of Agamotto and it had powers and stuff. So I was like, oh, maybe this is their way of bringing that back into the fray because like I hope because it the power of that's pretty cool and it's connected to other magical things. And I was like, oh, maybe this is their little thing to that. So
technically also like he has the third eye on his head and the eye of Agamotto. So we could technically
No, he doesn't have that anymore. That's
like
that goes to the Sorcerer Supreme.
I'm pretty sure.
Wong has
had it. He didn't still have it on throughout the movie?
I don't remember actually. But
he at least has the whatchamacallit. He has the I guess medallion, but there's nothing in it, right?
I thought that was the eye of Agamotto.
No, the eye of Agamotto is inside the medallion thing.
But wasn't the eye?
But that was the Infinity Stone, and that's
I was gonna say the Infinity Stone was an Infinity Stone, but the thing holding it was the eye of Agamotto.
It's shaped like an eye, but it supposedly should carry an eye, but you know.
All right, well, listen. All I wanted to do was say that we could finally call him Four Eyes. Okay, I just wanted to make that dumb joke.
He doesn't.
Now I made it.
That's
all right.
3 eyes, though.
He's got 4 with the eye of Agamotto.
All right, okay.
Never mind.
Okay, all right.
All you listeners out there, you guys thought it was funny. I think.
I will say. I don't know. Maybe you guys can clarify this because I thought the eye was weird. Personally, because if we're saying that the Darkhold kind of corrupted him and did this to him, how come this didn't happen to Agatha? How come this didn't happen to Wanda? Like, why aren't they walking around with a third eye? Like,
because it's exactly
did I miss something?
It's what it's saying at the end of this description here, that he develops a third eye as a result of using the Darkhold and dreamwalking into a corpse. So he's like breaking
specifically
like,
into
laws.
a corpse because Wanda did dreamwalk, but. Specifically walking into a corpse.
It might also just be something specific about Doctor Strange himself. Like maybe there's something about the witches using it that it doesn't affect them the same way. He is a master of the mystic arts. Maybe that has some kind of toll on him, depending on how he used it or how much he used it or what he used it for. I don't know. I guess we'll find out, I suppose, in the next movie.
Were you going to bring up the last scene?
Well, yeah, we can go to the next scene if you want to, unless you got one more thing to say.
Oh, no, it was about that, so you could go to the next scene.
Oh, great. So we got, in a mid-credit scene, Strange is approached by a sorceress, Clea, who warns him that his actions have triggered an incursion that he must help fix. Strange follows her into the dark dimension. And also there's the other final end credit scene, which, Raul, I want to hear you talk about for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. Okay, so this is the Clea thing. Okay, so I gotta admit, I'm not familiar. I have a have a casual knowledge of who Clea is. I know she kind of her and Doctor Strange kind of have like a romantic relationship in the comics and stuff. He
was his first girlfriend before Christine.
Okay, so
in the comics,
yeah.
But okay. I couldn't remember what she looked like in the comics. So when she showed up, and first of all, really the only thing that caught me off guard that kind of surprised me about this post-credit scene is Charlize Theron is in this thing now.
Yeah.
So we're introduced to Charlize Theron, but after that I was like, okay, Charlize Theron is in it. Who is she supposed to be? Like, I forgot.
Yeah,
who
I'll be honest. The first
like.
time I watched it, I was like, I have no idea who this character is.
Yeah, it went over my head.
Google and YouTube told me all the information about who this character is, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm really looking forward to her. Chad, I'm guessing you know more about her than either of us do, unless you want me to.
I mean, not too much. I mean, she's the niece of Dormammu and all that stuff.
Oh, I did learn. Yeah, I did learn.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, the basic stuff like that.
Clea is like her romantic interest in the comics, and like I think what I read up was like she, in some form and shape of the comics, she eventually becomes the Sorcerer Supreme after Doctor Strange. But that's going to be some cool relationship. The fact that it's Charlize Theron tells me that there's going to be a lot of cool chemistry between the two characters in the next movie that they're in. But I don't think we're going to see a Doctor Strange movie again, like what we were saying before, until way down the line. Maybe again 2024, 2025, maybe 26. Yeah. I don't know. It took forever for us to get to Doctor Strange 2, and the first one came out in 2016.
But we're definitely going to see him. I'm sure we'll see him show up in other movies.
Hopefully. Unless he's going to that Dormammu dimension right now, so we don't see enough of him for a while.
I mean, that's the dark dimension. That's where he was headed. So some with Dormammu, I would assume. But I really think I don't know if I should go into it now or not, but the idea I had for a movie for him, I could hold off if we're going to go into something.
Well, let's just say our very last thoughts. Oh, yeah, the Bruce Campbell cameo, Raul, real quick. Oh, yeah. What did you think of this last cameo?
I got to it, and I was like, I sat through 7 minutes of credits for this. Like, I didn't need that. I didn't need it. I don't know. No. I get, I'm a Bruce Campbell fan, and I did kind of enjoy the scene he was in before, although, it was fine. It was meh. But then it's like to see like, oh no, we're gonna call back to that little cameo, and it's just him like he's still beating himself up, and then he stops and he's like, it's over, and I'm like, all right.
It was like a less cool version of Homecoming, where at the end you see Captain America going, so you made it to the end of the video. Well,
see, and I appreciated that one though, because that was pretty meta. I appreciate
that was pretty meta.
I'm going to teach you a little something about patience.
What if at the end, he stops beating himself up and then he winks at the camera and he turns into Mephisto and he's like, "Hey, that would have been a nice."
Man.
There's our Mephisto
What an amazing touch that would have been.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Like final thoughts of this movie for me personally. Sam Raimi. I kept having this like back and forth battle in my head of whether or not I really enjoyed this movie from him. One of the things I kept on telling myself was like, oh, I think I'm just like over Sam Raimi's style. Like, I think it's just done. But then I went back and I watched Spider-Man 2 and I tried to make sure that I wasn't just enjoying it for the nostalgia. And I was just like really watching this movie, and I enjoyed the crap out of it still. It's a Sam Raimi movie through and through. And so I went back to Doctor Strange, and I realized that there's been a lot of like MCU, Kevin Feige, Disney kind of saying, "Hey, you got to make sure to throw these things in. Hey, I know you're doing your Sam Raimi stuff, but you got to be a little bit MCU Disney for us as well." And so I feel like that part of the movie kind of messed up a little bit of my enjoyment for Sam Raimi's film. That being said, at least I know now that like it's not because Sam Raimi is just getting old or something. That man is classic, amazing director through and through, and there's just a million things happening when you're making these movies that are as big as this franchise. So what about you guys?
Yeah, to kind of jumping off of what you were saying, Kevin, I do feel like, to me, like I said, I liked this movie. I didn't love it, but I think the problem for me was it felt like it was two different movies that were trying to share, one movie. And I felt like one movie worked and the other one didn't quite work. And it's hard because with this particular story, we're dealing with Wanda looking for her kids, and you can't tell that story without including the multiverse. So in that sense, the multiverse had to be involved. But I did feel like when we had the multiverse elements show up in this movie, it felt kind of half-assed, and it felt kind of we have to do this because it's a byproduct of Wanda's story, right? We have to do that. But everything else, just Wanda's character arc, Strange's character arc, I mean, everything else about it I really enjoyed. When Sam Raimi was allowed to do his thing, just all the horror stuff. I mean, I've said it a billion times already on this episode, but it just worked so well for me. I want to see Sam Raimi do a self-contained Doctor Strange movie. That's what I want to see him do, because I think all the stuff that I saw in this movie that he clearly had his fingerprints on worked the best for me. Again, but I feel like this movie should have been called Doctor Strange and the Rise of Scarlet Witch, not Multiverse of Madness, because you say Multiverse of Madness, and I will say this is probably partly on me and my expectations going into this movie. I had some expectations. I had some high expectations about the multiverse and how much of the multiverse we were going to see. So I will own up to that. But I just felt like as far as how much of the multiverse we got, and then what we got for me of the multiverse didn't quite land for me as much. Yeah. I'm kind of in the middle about it. I feel like it's kind of a mid-level Marvel movie. It's still a great Marvel movie. I just don't feel like it hit the tip tops like all these other good ones, like, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Endgame, the original Avengers. I think it's kind of in that mid-range for me.
I'd put it like right next to Ant-Man. Like, I think that's kind of the level of quality that I thought it was at. And like that's not saying it's a horrible movie, because there's over 30 movies of the MCU. When you say there's a top 10 movies, just because you're not in the top 10 doesn't mean you're a bad movie. It's all right. Like if we're talking about Thor: Dark World, that's another story. That's all the way at the bottom.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Chad, what about you? Any last thoughts?
I would say the hype got to me, so I was a little disappointed with it. But I did, as Raul stated, I love the Raimi touch he put on it and the Raimi parts that were in it. And I do wish he had his own movie, which I have an idea where, because Doctor Strange had a brother who died, Vincent, and he tries to bring him back to life with the Book of Vishanti, but he brings him back as a vampire.
Whoa.
And I think that would have been a cool contained story of him trying to save his brother, but also Dracula getting involved. Because in the comics, there's a big throwdown that he and Dracula have in it, and it ends in a draw. That's how powerful Dracula is, apparently. So I was like, oh, that'd be awesome if Sam Raimi could do that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So I think that would be cool. Or Raimi could do his own Ghost Rider movie, because hunting demons, and
I think that would be amazing. A standalone like Ghost Rider movie with Sam Raimi. That would be fantastic.
Plus, you could have Doctor Strange and the Ghost Rider team up, because they were on a team called the Midnight Suns together.
Midnight Suns, that's right.
Wow. And you have Blade, and you have Moon Knight, and Punisher, and bring them all for that.
That'd be cool.
Well, I think overall, I would definitely rewatch this movie again. I think that it's a fun, enjoyable film. I can't wait for it to come out, because it comes out on Disney Plus on June 22nd. So everybody, if you're listening to this now,
that's right, it does.
June 22nd, 2022. If you're listening to this in 2045, then what are you waiting for? But I guess that's it for us today. All right, so we made it to the end. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Kevin Andrew Rivera VO and Raul Ceballos VO. And Chad, what is your handles for Twitter and Instagram?
G Chadwick Cook is my Instagram handle, and Captain Mad Murdoch is my Twitter. But I'm not that active there, so it doesn't matter.
Go bother him on social media if you can, people. Anyways, want to send us a message to tell us your passionate movie news opinions? Send us an email at realgeeknews@gmail.com. We'll leave all the details in the description. Anyways, see you later, everybody. And most important of all, Raul,
stay geeky, my friends.